All right, kia ora koutou. Welcome to Render Radio. It's really great to have you here. We're excited that you are in the house with us tonight. I am Cliff, my friend here. Introduce yourself, Bodhi.
Chair my Māori. I am Bodhi of The Friend.
Nice.
It's great to be here.
And if I was to ask you, Bodes, have you had a mean day? Have you had a mean week? What would you say? Hard mean?
Ooh. Yeah, it's always mean, bro.
Well, in saying
you gotta have that mindset.
I think there's a man that can describe what a mean or a hard day really is.
When I moved back to New Zealand, bro, I came back from England and did half a year at Manureo Intermediate. Shout out to MI, where I first was introduced to Clifford Thompson. I had some of the bros teach me how to talk South Auckland. So
hard.
That's where I learned mean, hard.
And that's a nice little intro into welcome to Manureo, welcome to South Auckland, welcome again to the show. Without further ado, I'm going to welcome in our special guest in a moment. But the reason we wanted to bring this person on tonight, it's got a very unique story. He's got a very special set of circumstances that, you know, I'm hoping that through his story tonight, we'll be able to encourage someone out there, to help someone out there, to really help them move through some challenges and difficult times, because where he's landed and what he's doing in his life right now is pretty amazing. And I know we're proud of who he is becoming, who he is and what he's done. I'm sure his family are. I know his friends are. And we are excited tonight to bring on Japeth, otherwise known as JP.
JP.
Hey, JP. So first up, bro, you've been manicuring, you've been maturing that beautiful thing on your face called a beard. Welcome to the party. Welcome to manhood. Looking smooth, bro.
I thought it was Ice Cube for a second there.
Feels good to be a man.
That's great, JP. Hey, look, again, bro, we're so grateful and glad you've come on tonight. We know we're going to anticipate a lot of fun later in the show. But what we want to get to first of all is actually talk to you about your journey, your story. We're going to see some pictures very soon of some of that. But JP, if I can frame it up, if I was just to ask you first of all, tell us a little bit about yourself, your family, where you come from, your background, and then we'll jump into a bit more of your story. So that's our start point. Tell us a little bit about who JP is.
Yeah, see this. So my name is Japeth, but most people know me as JP. I actually got that name from my grandmother, who didn't know how to say Japeth, and it's just stuck with me ever since. So mum is Cook Island, dad is Samoan. Born and raised in New Zealand, in Manureo, and then moved over to Australia when I was 15, going up to 16.
Nice. All right, bro. So that's actually a nice little landing point. You said you moved over to Australia at in your teen years, at a young age, but you'd been, like many people and a lot of our Polynesian brethren, are physically gifted and talented, and they love to play sport. And you were no different. I mean, look at the specimen you are today. But also back then, a few years ago, you were identified quite young as having some special talents in a specific field of sport. Maybe you want to tell us a bit about that part of your journey, JP, how young you were when you got into playing footy, how that came about, and then your journeys over where it took you, before we start diving a little bit deeper into some of the challenges that you had.
Yep, no, sweet. So I've pretty much been raised around sports my whole life. Mum and dad were into rugby and league at the same time. Mum also played netball. And I think just growing up, I was always around the courts or on the field. Sometimes during the games when they were playing, I would run on and, my mum would have to carry me off. But no, I've always been around the field pretty much all my life. I started playing when I was 5 for Manureo Marlins. And then at the age of 11, 12, I ended up moving to Otahu. Yeah, it's a beautiful place. And just lucky enough, was able to develop and I was scouted a lot, so it was pretty good. Yeah.
And so from that scouting, obviously, you land in Australia, and around that time, I believe that in the NRL they had the under-20s competition, and so you went to tell us about the school you went to. It's known as a famous nursery of rugby league talent. So tell us a bit about that, and then how you got pulled into playing junior footy over in Oz.
Yeah, so I was lucky enough to get a scholarship to Palm Beach Currumbin, which is based on the borderline of New South Wales and Queensland. Pretty much right next to the beach. So surfing was another subject we were lucky enough to do, fishing and stuff like that. And then so I was with the Roosters first. So I would go to school Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, fly down to Sydney on Thursday, train Friday, play Saturday, come back Sunday. I did that for a couple of months, and then mom and dad moved over. They asked if I wanted to move down, and then some stuff happened, which they eventually let me go. But lucky enough, the school I was based at, all of the Titans, the Gold Coast Titans at the time, all their coaches were there at the school. So I was lucky enough to connect with them and went up the ranks pretty quick. And
And so you were playing, I understand you were in the outside backs, you were playing fullback, and you had some speed to burn, and you were pretty wiry and quick. And so you're going up the ranks, and at that time, that stage of your life, you obviously are thinking of, well, I could crack the NRL, I could have a big future in professional sport as an elite athlete. What happened for you on that journey from there, JP?
So I was probably one of the unfortunate ones that, injuries took a toll on me, going through those ranks. And then probably my last year of 20s, when I was not only training with the NRL squad part-time, but also going for that contract, I injured myself actually over here in New Zealand versus the Warriors.
Right.
Yeah.
Good old Warriors, eh? Thank you, Warriors.
Good old Warriors.
But on a serious note, JP, what sort of injury did you pick up? And what? So they obviously there were an accumulation of injuries that happened, and that began. Like you're talking about being close now. You're talking about signing contracts, serious contracts that can lead to more playing time and going up into up the ranks in terms of professionalism. Being so close and then having these injuries. What were some of these injuries, and what, as you experienced them, what were some of the things that you were being maybe challenged by as it was happening at the time?
Yep. So the one that I got when I was over in New Zealand or over here was my knee. So I did my MCL, I did my meniscus, and a partial tear of my PCL. So that one pretty much took me out for the whole season. But then lucky enough, I was able to, in round 23, be able to come back and play again. But I ended up dislocating my ankle at training the day before the game. And that put me out again. But no, the feelings that, the emotions, it was a crazy one, to be honest. But there was a lot of dark places in that time. That's all I can say.
Yeah. And I appreciate that, bro, that, obviously it makes you wonder, and if you've been touted as having all this potential, and you've obviously thought, well, I'm going to possibly be this and do this, and then all of a sudden the injuries accumulate, they happen, it just becomes harder to get back. And like you said, then you get into this place where you're thinking a lot of, and you frame it up as having some dark places or some dark thoughts. For any other sort of young athletes that might be experiencing something similar, what right now, just as you think back to those dark places, because obviously you're sitting here with us today, you were able to do some things, or whether you had some people around you, or you would have talked to some people, or you did some things that really helped move you forward and encourage you out of that place. JP, what were some of those things, if you can think back to that time, when you were challenged, when you were going through these dark places, what were some of those things that really, if you think back now, actually helped manage that, helped you get through that? if you could give us some insight.
Yeah, I think the biggest one for me was I was lucky enough to be based in a church at the time. So I had some really awesome people around me that surrounded me during that time, especially a man named Kennedy Ngalo. He was one of the amazing ones, pretty much like my mentor. And yeah, he was the one that pretty much got me through a lot of those dark places. And then other than that, I think it was food, to be honest. Food really helped.
Right.
Yeah, so I went from a fullback to a prop in about 6 months.
Yeah.
But I
Hey,
never
bro,
played prop.
even on that, I think there are a lot of people in our community that go from fullbacks to props and they're not even playing footy, right? Within 3 months, all right?
Yeah.
So but on a serious note, man, obviously you're speaking to the fact that you had some good people around you. You were planted in a faith community which helped navigate and steer. But as a human being, even with those supports around you, you're still going to struggle, right, with some of those challenges, because you still got to get up every day. You still got to keep going forward. You still have to move forward. So you obviously came to this realization that maybe footy is not going to be the path that I thought it was going to be. And you started taking up other sport and getting involved in, because of people that know you know that you're a big guy, right? And so you obviously started doing some bodybuilding or some weightlifting or whatever you want to call it. You shifted into that space. So how did that transition happen for you? And what was the catalyst for you to say, you know what, I still like to train, but maybe I'm gonna do this or get involved in some other sport? What was the turning point there?
Yeah, I think while I was playing footy, we were always in the gym. And to be honest, I wasn't one of the strongest men, one of the strongest boys there. But I did like throwing around weights with my cousins and stuff like that. And then a couple of people were asking me if I wanted to do bodybuilding. To be honest, I didn't do bodybuilding. I never wanted to be a bodybuilder, only because of the dietary side of things. I don't like to starve myself, as you can tell. But like obviously, I like to train in the gym now and then, and it's a place where I can take my mind off a lot of things and put a lot of frustration into the weights. So,
No, it's good. And so obviously you transitioned over into gym life, into weightlifting, and we're going to see some photos soon of this amazing physique that you have, the six pack that's going on there, that we would all be jealous of. But in saying that, JP, having to deal with, what do you say to someone today, and whether it be in sport, whether it be just in life, you've obviously got some experience dealing with some disappointment. What would you say to someone today that might be struggling with things not working out as they thought or as they planned? What would you say to encourage them? What would you say to keep them getting up tomorrow to keep moving forward?
I think just knowing that there are going to be disappointments, and but at the end of the day, like you said, things will always turn out for the best. Especially if you just continue to look forward, continue to just put your trust in God. Just knowing that, like for myself, my goal, my dream was to play footy, but God's purpose for me was far greater than that. So just knowing that, just as long as you put your trust in God and just continue to push forward through those little situations. And there's always light at the end of the tunnel. It's not always going to be darkness. It's not always going to be hard.
Awesome,
but
bro.
just
And having, like you said, having key people around you, talking to people, getting involved. And I want to say to anyone tonight that might be watching that, is dealing with, has dealt recently or is dealing with some disappointment, there is help, there is support out there. I'm, an advocate for, and I'm involved with an organisation called Sport Chaplaincy New Zealand, which the whole MO is to walk beside and journey with people, athletes and their families, through some of these ups and downs, and I can advocate for that. But also advocating for, like JP talked about, one of the areas that really helped them was being in church and in a faith community, because that's where you can get help. So if there's anyone tonight that needs to reach out or just wants to know a bit more, we can provide professional services and a link to that. I just want to say that now while it comes to mind. Or if you just want to talk to someone, don't be afraid to message the Render Gathering in a private message if you feel the need to, and we can definitely would love to help support you in that area. But coming back to your JP, around your story, you're now in a place where obviously you accepted that your life's going to take a bit of a different course, and you said that you began to realize that God's full purpose and identity for you wasn't just footy, because even at best, right, you might have had at best, say you had a 12-year career at an elite level. It still does come a point where that professional playing time comes to an end. So you've got to be thinking about your identity is far greater than just your ability to do a certain thing. It's also the ability or seeing what God has for you, and the ability to do other things that you're passionate about and find those other passions. So JP, for you, to let the people know a little bit, what are some of those other passion areas in your life that you have discovered or that you are still discovering about yourself? What else is JP passionate about?
Definitely food. They'll always be up there. But for myself, I love the youth. So I'm a youth worker at the moment. I'm also one of the youth mentors in our church youth. I love singing. I love music. I love going on trips, finding new places to go. Me and my partner love going to the beaches and just spending our time there. And really, I really enjoy being around the youth, though. That's one place.
And I know I can testify to that, JP, not just that you love being around youth, but how much of a difference yourself, your partner, and even our youth mentors have even just really made in this lockdown time for a lot of our youth, and how much work it takes to, not just listen to them, but understand them, be patient with them. That's really amazing, bro. So you've come a long way, but not only that, is we can really begin to see how God is going to continue to use you further into the future. So what we're going to do now, as the questions are going to come through, and we're going to get you to answer some of them in a moment, let's take a look at some of the pictures that you've given us, some beauties here. And as they come up, JP, just tell us a little bit, give us some context about what we're seeing and the viewers are seeing here tonight in your story. Let's fire some of those up now. This one you didn't give me. This one was provided by the lovely Hadassah. But which one is you, brother?
I'm that amazing looking guy on the right with the white.
What was going on there?
That was my mom and dad's wedding day. So those
nice.
are my first cousins and my little brother on the far left.
Nice, bro. Awesome. Let's keep banging through. Oh, here we go. Here's hey.
Let's go.
So that was the good old Manureo Marlins, and as you can see, Bodie was one of my coaches.
You might have to point out which one I am, bro.
He's the tall guy with hair, and number 26.
The tall guy with hair.
Oh yes.
Wow.
So I used to live in Mount Isa, and then we went fishing in a place called Burketown, which is like a 6-hour drive from Mount Isa. And that crocodile there was caught in that pond that I'm actually standing on top of.
Right.
Probably like 3 weeks before that photo was taken. And my mom beat the heck out of my ears.
Wow.
I got in so much trouble for that. So what I was actually doing, I was trying to grab a friend's lure, fishing lure out of the trees. They costed about $50 each. So I was the silly one. I was the silly one that had to go over.
It's crazy.
Yeah, that's the old man. That's the original beast there. the two young beasts.
I see the genetics.
Yeah.
Nice, bro.
Oh wow.
Oh, that's my cousin Tyler. That was her wedding, and all our family came over from Australia.
Cool.
So you can see there's my dad on the far right with the pink shirt, and mom's on her knees in the yellow. And
Nice.
yeah, that's our whole side, one side.
Cool, bro.
Ooh.
Here we go.
So that's when I decided to try out gridiron. Yeah. I was actually injured. I was having surgery the next day, so I couldn't play in our grand final. Right. But yeah, ended up playing gridiron for a couple
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. That was actually just a joke.
Man,
was it though? Was it though? Yeah, the shoulder. Look at the chest on him. God. Right, here we go.
And that's when I ended up playing rugby for the first time in New Zealand with my two sisters. They were playing for Ardmore girls, and I was playing for the Ardmore men's.
That's awesome, bro. And this one?
Oh, that was my last photo with my family before I moved over to Australia. We were down in Sydney for a cousin's wedding, and mum and dad were flying out, I think, over to Bali, and then me and my brother were flying back to the Gold Coast before I flew over to New Zealand, and that's my nana down there too.
Nice, bro. Nice pick. There we are. There you are now. Now JP is he's taken now, but ladies, this is what you're missing out on.
Wow.
No, so this photo, like I really love this photo because at the time, so the tallest one in that photo is actually my first cousin, but he grew up as my brother.
Nice.
We were both playing 20s, and my younger brother was actually the captain of the under-16s Titans. So we had just finished a full training day, and then we had our family day at the beach. So that's why we're all in our shorts and those shirts, because they were
always ripping.
Yeah, I was allergic to shirts back then.
Yeah, I was going to say that another good reason to take your shirt off. Awesome. What are we seeing here, bro? Here we go.
This photo, man. Yeah, so this one's just a photo over 9 years. So the far top was our grand finals of the Australian schoolboys comp, and we ended up taking that out in the last seconds of the game. And then the rest, I was just playing for Samoa, the 18s as a 15, 16-year-old. Then the Titans coming up for the ranks. And then that one there, that's the injury photo there.
Yeah. Wow.
Man. And that was a pretty stink one because I was getting booed so much while I was taking it off. And then the two gridiron ones was that was my second ever game of gridiron, but we were playing in a national club challenge,
right?
Where we got, and then the red one is when I was playing for the Peppertoe Wildcats over here.
Nice, bro. Yeah. Wow. Very cool. And this one?
Oh man, that's my Usos. So these two, man, they've been amazing. Pretty much been there since day dot. The big, tall, handsome man over there was the fella that used to pick me up every morning. Not every morning, but every time I needed a ride to church and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it just showed the selflessness. He didn't even know me at the time, old brother Mark, but he'd still pick me up for the hangouts. And then good old brother Sean there, he's he's been an amazing friend and mentor.
Yeah, that's awesome, bro. And I think it just speaks to the fact that what you said tonight through your story, JP, that having good people around you to help you through all your stages and phases of life, the seasons we go through, has really been something that not only helped you through, but I know help a lot of people through. And, I'll say to you in the last part of that is, don't forget that you do that for many others as well. I know that you lead a worship unit and you're part of the youth and just the influence, and even through your mahi now as a youth worker, the difference that you make for young people. So appreciate that, bro, giving us some insight into your life and what you do. So we're going to jump into some questions now. Let's pull up some of these questions, and we're going to bring them through live on the screen and see what we've got for you. See what some of these beauties have asked you. From Pastor Lisa, JP, who helped you get through that tough time of injuries?
Yeah, so like I said, I had a lot of people based around, surrounding me. But Kennedy, a man named Kennedy Ngalo and his wife Elizabeth, they were at the top. Also, mum and dad were massive during that time. Just continued to speak life into me, because I literally gave up on life. I was just sitting down in bed every day eating. But yeah, pretty much those 4 people, they were the biggest influences.
Very cool. Oh, we got a question here from a very special lady from Hadassah. What's your advice to other youngins? And it could be advice about anything.
I reckon just keep going. At this, I guess at being young, man, just enjoy playing every sport. If this is for sports, just go for gold, man. Don't let people hold you down to one sport. Just enjoy that. Yeah.
Good advice, JP. Enjoy it, while you're doing it. From Kemi, advice on how you balance sports, church, and life as a whole.
Yeah, well, I was lucky enough that when I was playing Titans, most of our games are on Saturdays or Mondays. So Sunday was one of those rarities we would play on that day. But when it came to like, I don't know, like worship and stuff like that, just putting, prioritizing. Church would always come first, especially when it came to worship. Yeah, over my sports, but just gotta find that balance.
And that's a good point, JP. That's a real personal thing. People have to, it's what you value. And if you value what God says and the relationship with Him, you got to make those the choices. And I know that it can be, especially a lot of young athletes or athletes have to face those choices in their life. So I appreciate that. We've got a good question here from Amy. You said you like to train in the gym now and then. Is it more now or then?
At the moment, it's definitely now.
Cool, bro. Den, highlight since being a part of the Render gathering. What's your highlight?
There's way too many to highlight.
Well, let me rephrase the question. How am I your highlight? In what way do I highlight your life? No. But maybe just what are some things you really enjoy about being part of a faith community, JP?
I really like I enjoy the Sundays. I miss the Sundays. And just the care that you see, the genuine care from everybody within the church.
Yeah, bro. Awesome. That's cool. Appreciate that. Let's see if we've got a few more coming through here. There are a number of questions. I got one while we're getting another one to come up. I got one from Solomon that says, "Hey, cuz, is that beard real?" The heat's coming. I told you.
It's so real. It is real, so real.
Real mascara.
It's up to you, mate. It's up to you.
Here's another question from Isaac. Any regrets you can't be like Jason Taumalolo?
Any regrets? Nah, no regrets. No regrets whatsoever. No regrets.
Here's brother Bobby. What makes you want to be doing the youth thing?
I think for myself, like growing up when I was in youth, the impact the youth leaders had on my life at the time, and then also like the struggles that I went through, I knew that I was able to be a voice, for the youth coming through. That was one of the biggest. But no, I just really enjoy the youth. I enjoy how young they make me feel, how relevant they make me feel. Nah, but they're amazing boys, man. Amazing boys and girls at our youth. I love them.
Awesome, bro. This is a great question here. Brother, what was it like to be a Christian man in a sporting culture?
Wow. Hey, Potter. My man.
Hey. There he is.
Yeah, there he is. for myself, I thought that I could be a light in a sporting culture. Growing up, I think I was never one of those ones that wanted to try anything when I was going through the ranks. I always just knew there was like good or bad, and I knew sometimes making bad decisions would end up taking me one direction, one path, and making good decisions, would help me out with that way. But no, yeah, I just noticed that I knew that there was a lot of darkness when it came around sports, just with the culture of drinking and girls and stuff like that. But just being able to just to be a light, just be a light to a lot of people.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. I've got another question here I'm going to bring this one through from Janet Tavui. How did you overcome the reality check of acceptance? So how do you come to just accepting at some point that, hey, this is what's happened and it is what it is right now?
Yeah, no, I think for myself was just finding peace, being able to break away from that tag of I was just a footy player, and then realizing like I was actually told by Kennedy that I was more than a footy player, and that really that really helped me out and made me realize like I'm actually more than a footy player, and God's not done with me just because I'm no longer a footy player.
Awesome, bro. That's so good. That's really cool. Din, what's your goal for the future, JP?
Goal for the future. I would love to be in that sports pastoring.
Chaplaincy.
Chaplaincy, yeah, that would be really awesome. I'd love to be able to do that.
Well, all you need to do is come to me, have a quarter. We make some things happen. But before we answer Amy's question, just on that, I saw a question here in the side note, and then we'll ask Amy's question as the last one. We've got a whole lot of questions here, bro, but time permitting, we can't get to them all. But I do want to ask this one, and then we'll bring Amy's one through again. And it was a question from Ose, Pastor Ose in Wainui. Did you consider coaching as an option to playing after those unfortunate injuries?
I did at one point, but just the strategies and stuff were just too much for my brain, a bit too much for me. Are
you more of one of those run it straight?
maybe
JP, run it straight.
Yeah.
And let's bring.
I've never wanted.
Awesome, bro. Appreciate that, your honesty. Let's bring Amy's question back through. Last one. What does the next year or two look like for you? Any big bells? I mean goals? Dumbbells?
It would definitely be bells within the next 2 years. Just letting you know, there will be bells.
Nice, and I think we'll leave it there. We know the heat's going to come, but in a different way. We won't put that extra additional heat on JP tonight. But brother, we're going to pull those questions together for you, and we're going to fire them through to you, and then you can answer some of these other great questions at a later point in time, and we'll give the responses back to people. But JP, just on your story, I appreciate the insight you've given us, and to encourage you. I mean, bro, you're doing amazing. And, I think we so quickly forget sometimes as we get to know someone, we forget what they've been through. We forget what they carry. And for you, we honor that tonight where you've come from and what God is continuing to do in you. It's really special and important. And I know that you're going to help many, many more people through telling your story, brother. So keep it up. Well done. We can now come to our thoughts be gathering as we come to the end of the show. JP, one last piece of encouragement, my brother, that you can give out. What's God saying to you, speaking to you about right now in this season?
Probably for me, it's just keep pushing forward. Just keep pushing forward. And with any circumstance that is happening, just knowing that, God is with you. He's pushing you. He's pulling you. He's walking with you. And just know that you're not alone. Know that you're not alone.
Amen, bro. Very, very cool. Bodie?
Kia ora, everyone. What's been on my mind? My mind. Sorry.
Fact.
Fat. Here we go. This is what's been on my mind. God sees your heart. He does. Like, we get caught up in, I guess, self-esteem or our past, and what we feel about ourselves, but God looks straight through that and looks into your heart. So be encouraged, chase after him, find your purpose in him, and he will see that. So when you fall over, keep going, keep moving forward, as JP said, and keep serving, serve others, put yourself out there.
Awesome. And with those things being said, here's my final thought for you on this Friday evening. As we've been going through the series, going through this time, seeing that picture, I've just been thinking about the fact that, everyone's looking so excitedly to come out of this level 3 and to resume, and you hear some sense of normality. I understand that, and I get that, and there are some things that we look forward to, but there have been some beautiful things that have taken place in the lives of people in the season, such as spending more time with the people around you, appreciating more the people that you, maybe in all the busyness of your life, you didn't get to appreciate. Maybe you got to read a little bit more or reflect a little bit more, and you began to appreciate your life and a lot of the things that you do have a little bit more. I want to suggest that we don't lose that, because the desire to go back to what was normal, maybe it wasn't quite normal. Maybe we got so caught up in things that weren't healthy and good for us. And when we think about what God's word, we've heard the brothers tonight talk about keep pushing forward, keep moving forward, what God is doing. I want to suggest to you that when Jesus spoke, he spoke often about why he was here, and he was here to do something new and to do something different. And while some things don't change, some things need to. So I want to encourage you, for the great things you've learned in this season, for the great things you've embraced, don't lose that. Behold, the word says, I am doing a new thing. Do you not perceive it? And it goes on to talk about streams in the desert and new things you would never imagine. So I just want to encourage you to remember that tonight as we come to a close. JP, we thank you. We appreciate you, brother. So proud of you. Love what you're doing. Love where you're going. And we stand with you, brother. Bodie, again, we appreciate you, bro. Have a great weekend, everybody. We are the Render Gathering, helping you become.